Good morning, Alex.
Hi, Shaikh. How are you?
Doing good. It must be like 9:30 to you or
Yes, it's
10:30?
9:30.
9:30. So
9:30.
good morning.
Yes.
I hope you had a great morning today. Uh, we just had few very interesting, very versatile sessions today morning. We had we talk about culture and change. We talk about value creation. We talk about just a while ago. We talk about design thinking. Okay, now we completely shift our focus and which is go to the one of the most important present topic for any organization, which is uh, let me see the title, sir, exactly. Marketing and sales aligned to the strategy. I think this is one of the most important for any organization. Okay, now so this is the beauty of the program where we see complete different point of views and cover each and every corner of the organization to give you the strategic alignment and expertise and that maybe the information what you needed. Okay, so with that, I'll just make a quick introduction, Alex. Okay, so let me invite Mr. Alex Goma. Okay. Alex is very extensive experienced in FMCG management across 6 African countries. Alex specializes in general management, sales, trade marketing, and customer service logistics. Okay. His focus is on fostering sustainable organizations that consistently deliver results. I have witnessed this, by the way. He has led cross-functional teams to successfully launch new brands, drive sales growth, increase market share, and improve profitability. Okay, this is something which is very interesting for anybody to know. Additionally, he has implemented sales capability programs, management training schemes to develop future talent. His expertise also extends to a distributor development, retail chain operation, and quality control in the beverage industry. Welcome, Alex. I think I will be personally would like to hear more from you each and every time you talk about sales. So, how important with very few, very small changes in your current process in sales and marketing will lead to a big results. Okay, I would like to welcome you and over to you, Alex. You please help our participants to know more about sales and marketing and how it is aligned to the strategy, and all is yours. Yeah, please.
Okay. What
Screen.
I'll try to do is to share my slides. Just a moment. I'm trying to load. So, in speaking through this, what I'm going to try and do is just share a few tips. I'm just waiting
You
for
are
the
able to
slide
share the screen.
to upload.
You know how to.
Can
You are
you?
sharing, right? Mhm.
Yes, it's trying to upload.
Okay.
So what? Whilst I'm waiting for it to upload, I think
Yeah. Yeah. Please.
this is one of the critical challenges that most businesses face when you're looking at. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is marketing and sales aligned to strategy. In doing this, introduce talk about what exactly are we talking about and why is this important. What are some of the key opportunities and things to focus on? What are some of the pitfalls to avoid? And how do you drive alignment? And then one or two examples, good and bad examples of where this has happened on a global basis. And I can also share an example from my own experience and then summarize and give room for questions. But I think critically, every business is set up to deliver sustainable value for its stakeholders, the owners of the business, the employees, the communities, the consumers that it works on. For this to happen, businesses have to have a clear strategy to allow this to happen. I think this is why this summit is important. Your strategy is simply a set of choices that you've decided to focus on. Where are you going to play and how are you going to play in that particular market? Sales and marketing are two critical functions. Ideally, I think businesses should see marketing as their strategy, not as a function, because you're trying to serve consumer needs. You're trying to meet consumer needs. You're trying to do that and make a profit, and therefore also achieve the objectives for all your other stakeholders. So everyone in the business is actually involved in trying to ensure that you deliver this. So when you look at the traditional 4 Ps of marketing, it actually requires everybody in the business. So place, even though it is managed by sales, is actually driven by marketing because they know where the consumer that they're targeting is. The product is determined by what you're trying to offer, be it a physical product or be it a service that you're trying to offer. Yes, the operations or your supply chain team will be the ones that are driving this on behalf of marketing. Your price is a function of a collaboration between supply chain, your sales, and commercial finance to ensure that whatever value you're delivering, you're able to charge for it, and therefore you can make a premium. And of course, the last P, which is the marketing P or promotion, is driven largely by marketing, but is also in conjunction with supply chain or your operations, with your sales, as well as your finance for this to happen. So it's critical that businesses understand that marketing is not just a function, it's actually the business of the entire company. Now, it is good to have to ensure the alignment between sales and marketing and the other functions to ensure that you're able to deliver profitable growth. Where this doesn't happen, you can find functions working at their own objectives. And at the end of the day, you can have a fantastic marketing campaign, you can have a fantastic sales program, but you don't deliver your profits, you don't deliver your revenue numbers you're looking for. At the end of the day, the business suffers. So there have been instances where, oh, this is a beautiful campaign, but guess what? At the end of the year, the business did not deliver the profit that it was expecting to get. So it is important to get this alignment to happen because one, it drives the overall organizational growth and success. It forces everyone to understand that we are focused on the consumer. We're trying to meet a consumer or customer need. There's no differentiation in what each function does, but however, we recognize the role of each function in ensuring that we can do that. Where you have this established, the organization will continually grow and delivers consistent results. The second thing is around increasing and improving the customer experience and therefore driving the revenue that you get. And then the alignment also helps you in reduction in cost, reduction in inefficiencies, and also as a result of better resource allocation. There are times where we focus so much on the activities that we want to do and we allocate budget to them without looking at the overall impact on the business result. So the question I've always asked my sales or marketing teams is, what's the number one problem we're trying to solve? How have we come to that conclusion? And therefore, how do we allocate resources towards that? Rather than have a situation where, oh, this is my marketing budget, you can't touch it. This is my sales budget, you can't touch it. Meanwhile, the business is
Alex,
dealing with the problem. Yes,
hello, Alex.
can
Just
you hear me?
hold. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just there is some problem in the display in LinkedIn. Okay. So it is from LinkedIn side.
Okay.
Just give me just a minute. Mhm. Okay. Because LinkedIn has stopped streaming. So Kuldeep is looking at it. So it just okay. So it's there is a reconnection going on. Just a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
Hold on a minute, Alex, because it got disconnected. Okay. So maybe so. Just Alex, because since we are in stream ad, we are able to see it because it is streamed in LinkedIn. That LinkedIn got disconnected. It is live on YouTube, but in LinkedIn it got disconnected. I luckily
Do
see it.
we,
Otherwise, you can notice.
yeah, do we continue or do we wait for LinkedIn, or
Just a
should
minute.
it be shared to the audience on LinkedIn later?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we might be holding back the people who are on YouTube and on the other channels as well.
Okay. Just give me like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Shall we continue? Yeah, I think we shall continue, Alex, because in YouTube, the people are waiting.
Yeah. So I think it's important to get that alignment because that ensures, like you said, overall growth for the business. There's consistency of the messaging across the organization for what you are focused on, and then of course it creates the opportunity for you to manage and allocate costs. One thing I always try to simplify for people is to say that there are three key battles every business is trying to win. The first battle is the battle for the mind of the consumer, because before they decide whether they're going to use a particular service or product, whichever product is in the mind is already won that battle. The second is where they're going to access that service or product. Again, whoever wins that battle has already won another leg. And then, of course, the last is when they experience the product or service. If it delivers against what they have been promised or what they're expecting, then you find out that you win. Now, every organization and every unit of every organization should be single-handedly focused on trying to win across these three battles. The ones that do it sustainably and consistently are the ones that win. So, whilst we divide and break down the organization into the various functions for us to deliver, we've got to recognize that we have to work in harmony for these three battles to be won, or else at the end of the day, the organization suffers and is not able to deliver. So, what are the things to focus on to ensure that you can get this alignment to the strategy? The first thing is a consumer or customer centric approach for the business. So, and this is where the responsibility of sales and marketing, since they are more external facing and they bring feedback and insight from the marketplace, from the consumers, from the customers, they should be able to provide the direction for the business in terms of what is happening, what do people want, what are the constraints or challenges they're facing, and how can the business then drive and solve that. The second thing is to have an integrated planning approach for the business. So it is not planning just on silos. No, taking the long term view of the business. What are you trying to achieve? And how does this break down to what the core responsibilities are for each of the functions, ensuring that, okay, the consumer and the customer are the heart of everything that you do. Therefore, all the plans and processes and activities that every function within the business should be tied towards this, and therefore you have a shared plan and you can have cohesion. It is also important to understand key areas and opportunities for alignment between sales and marketing. In a number of organizations, they tend to move in divergent manner. So while the sales guys feel that we're the ones on ground, we're the ones facing all the problems, in a lot of instances, people think the marketing guys have their heads in the clouds because some of the ideas are things ideas to that sound very, very detached from what the rest of the business is seeing and feeling. So we've got to be able to make sure that we can bring that. And the simple way is to ensure that we drive data-driven decision making. So where you have consumer data, where you have trade data, where you have customer service logistics data, service level data, this is what we use in showing that, okay, this is where we should focus on and what we should drive. And then, of course, the last thing is to make sure that we always drive regular communication and collaboration across the business to ensure that we're sharing the same insights, we have the same goals, and then we're looking at the problems from the same lens, even though we all have different perspectives. It is important that the various perspectives of the business are brought into bear for us to have the right quality of debate and for us to drive alignment, not agreement. Sometimes what I've seen is people just agree and say, okay, we're going to do this just because they want to get out of the room. And at the end of the day, nobody follows through on what has been agreed. So what are the things that we've got to avoid? The first one is a silo mindset. So there are instances where, yes, a particular function, and depending on the nature of that business, some functions tend to be stronger than the others. And this is typically where you find sales, marketing, or these are the customer facing businesses. These are the ones who bring everything. Therefore, they tend to operate in a silo. So the focus should be on one agenda. It's the business agenda and not the functional agenda. And so we don't have competition internally rather than us focused outside. I always used to tell my business teams that the enemy is outside the fence of the business. The enemy is not internally. So the time we spend fighting each other doesn't help us. We should rather look at the areas where we have commonality and we can drive that, and then we can address the things that make us different. You've got to check for areas of misaligned goals and incentives. Whilst we're trying to drive one agenda, there are times where, without knowing it, there are certain functional goals that are critical to different functions of the business that might seem inconsistent with what we're trying to do. If we don't fix these areas of alignment for these functions, they're going to go down and struggle to try to meet those objectives because they're going to be measured for those. So we've got to check the areas where there's alignment. We've also got to check the areas where there's misalignment and how do we deal with that. And that misalignment has to be dealt with at the top. It is not something that we allow the guys at the bottom, because what will just happen is you find a lot of friction, you find a lot of finger pointing at various functions and no solutions given as to how we should avoid this. And then, of course, poor communication, especially incomplete communication, where the entire organization does not understand what we're trying to do. It is critical after building your strategy to ensure that that strategy is owned by the leadership of the business and they go together to the various functions to share with one voice. When that happens over a period of time, the business starts to look at things holistically, and functions are not looking at things from their own perspective. Because it's very easy for functions to become victims and say, oh, the rest of the business doesn't care about us, or we're the ones suffering, we're the ones struggling to get this happen, and yet we don't get recognized or rewarded. So for this to happen, I think it's critical to have integrated business planning as a key process. So drive common goals, drive align critical KPIs, and also share reward systems. It is critical that it is not only the customer or the front facing, as most businesses say, are the ones who get rewarded when the business is doing well. How do we make sure that the people in the back end who are supporting the delivery of these results also get rewarded? Where there's shared reward, shared results, shared accountability, you then find that alignment happens. We've got to create great channels for information sharing and decision making. So your integrated business planning should have critical business meetings where these debates happen and the decisions are final. Of course, culminating in the final executive decision meeting where everything that happens is decided, and then the information flows back across to the various functions. We've got to have shared metrics and incentives, and then you can also leverage the use of technology that supports integration, data sharing, and performance tracking. Of course, these are some of the things that Data Labs Fruity offers, because there are quite a number of products. I've been privileged to try and use one of the products that the company has to offer when I was trying to drive alignment and shared goals across one of the businesses that I run. And then from the leadership, it is critical to establish a clear tone for collaboration. Business leaders have to speak on behalf of the business and not one function. Down the ladder, people will try to say, oh, no, we're different, we're this, we're that. Unless you drive that from the top, it's always going to be something that is difficult, especially when you have small challenges or when you have areas where it seems certain goals are cross purpose between what the function has or wants and what the business is trying to deliver. So there are one or two examples of where this has happened holistically. Nike, in trying to drive their consumer offense strategy, drove collaboration across their businesses, from supply chain, from IT and marketing, looking at the technology that they have to understand what they needed to do. And therefore, they were able to drive collaboration, share the data and insights. And then it drove that alignment between marketing, sales, and operations to ensure that they could serve the consumer directly and how they could manage the supply chain coordination. And this resulted in something that was fantastic results for them. And this is something that they've continually driven and are continuing to do. And I think a lot of businesses have copied from that approach. And you can see that happening, where you're not only relying on your sales through the organized channels, but actually you're now reaching out direct to consumer, and you're able to do that and also meet the supply chain challenges and constraints that this can happen in an efficient manner. A poor example is when McDonald's tried to create Mac Pizza, and whilst marketing was focused on creating the campaign and ensuring this happened, and they ran a lot of campaigns, the back office had not figured out how to ensure that they could serve and do this with the time that the customer who was going into a McDonald's expected to be served. So the new Mac Pizza created complexity, longer lead times, affected even the other products that they were serving. The end result is that whilst marketing was running a campaign about what they were trying to deliver, the customer was frustrated. And at the end of the day, I think they had to clear this out from quite a number of outlets. I think only one or two remain. And it is only in recent times they are also trying to get back to this particular product again, because I think must have figured out how to fix this. So just to summarize, I think business strategy is simply choices that any business has to make to deliver their choices, and the choice is the choice of where to play and how to play. Sales and marketing are critical in the development of business strategy. Ideally, marketing is the strategy of the entire business, because everyone is focused, should be focused on winning the battle for the mind of the consumer, the battle for where the consumer accesses the product or the service, and then what happens when the consumer uses the product or service. Does it deliver against what we promised? So the customer, the consumer should be at the heart of every business strategy. However, there are instances where functional strategies start to take a life of their own, because some functions become so big or so powerful, and therefore resulting in misalignment. Integrated business planning and utilizing the tools and processes associated with this helps to drive and foster collaboration across business functions and alignment to strategy. But despite situations, we know people that, okay, if you have the right leadership in any business, you can build the kind of structure and processes where sales and marketing is aligned to delivery of the business. So we need to reward how we align all the functions and businesses and measure performance, and how we establish a culture of excellence across for the entire business. Yes, whilst understanding that maybe sales and marketing might be at the forefront because they own the relationship with the consumer and the customer, it does not make them superior to any other function, right? What we should be trying to drive is a focus on winning the battles that matter for the business, and then we can drive everything that we do from a sales and marketing perspective, linking it back with what operations, supply chain, and finance are doing to ensure that the business is profitable. So these are the few things I had to share in terms of principles. If there are questions, willing to take them, and then I can also share if there are specific questions from my own experience. Thank you.
1 minute, Alex. Yeah. Mhm. Alex,
Yes,
you're able to hear me?
I
Yeah.
can hear you.
So, yeah. So now you explained very nicely. So can we just think about a mid-size organization where we have where sales and marketing team is limited? Okay. So maybe the management himself spend most of the time in the sales and marketing. So how does that fit into the strategy? Because how the owner manager can take up the sales and marketing function in a more unbiased way. What is your experience in this?
I think it's to be very clear about what you're trying to achieve. So in a lot of instances where you find a small business and the owner manager, I think in most instances they're trying to sell. They're just trying to get revenue. And therefore sometimes the focus tends to be how much can we sell? And all they're trying to do is to sell. So they're trading. Now, you can get success by trading, right? You can reach your customers, you can sell what you have, but at certain point the question is that, are you trying to build something that can be bigger than where you have? Are you trying to build a relationship, something that can allow you to charge a premium? Because in most instances when you're just trying to drive through sales, margins that you'll probably be able to charge might be limited, except there's a bit of a demand challenge in that particular category. So if you want to get more margin, this is where you have to sell more intangible benefit to people. And this is where the importance of marketing comes in. Now, the key is to balance in terms of the evolution of the business. What are you trying to do? So I always say, look, one of the first things, get your brand proposition right, and then start to look at where are the things I start from. I must get my product right. So if my product is right, fantastic. Now, I must also get the other elements right. I must be careful not to sell my product as cheap. There's a difference between I'm selling my product as valuable and versus I'm selling it as cheap. And so this is where owner managers tend to think that marketing is expensive because they can't see the immediate value. So if you have a phased approach to say at this first level, we will be building the product and then we will build access through our route to market and then we'll be building the brands. But in ensuring that you have your brand proposition right, you do not take steps that will damage your brand in the future. So a simple example is saying that I am the lowest cost. I can internally be the low cost producer, but I should not tell the customer outside I'm the cheapest product in the market. Because once that is established, it becomes difficult for you to create a brand out of that where people just associate you with it. You're a cheap brand. So the people who are poor, the people who have price as the only things that they want, will defer to you, but then you would have lost out. So, however, if your strategy long term is I'm going to sell low cost items, I can still sell low cost items without saying that I'm cheap. I think that's one of the things that I find a challenge I found with owner managers, understanding at which point should I start to invest in the marketing so that I can build the equity for my brand. I don't know if that answers.
Absolutely. Now we have few more minutes time, Alex. Would you like to give some briefing how the sales and marketing function align to the strategy in particular region, like in especially in Africa? Okay, so how does that companies do differently? The successful companies do differently.
So there are different ways it's been managed, right? There are companies who have sales and marketing as one function, which is a commercial function. So you would have a commercial director, and therefore, underneath that director, you have somebody responsible for consumer marketing, you have somebody responsible for sales and trade marketing, you have somebody responsible for insights. When that happens, it's easier for you to drive the alignment. I've also seen instances where you have the two different functions. So sales is a separate function, marketing is a separate function. Sales is typically driven by trying to sell more products and managing the customers. Marketing is driven by by trying to manage the consumers. And I've seen good and bad in both. I've been in a business where the business was struggling for growth. Marketing kept on spending money on their marketing activities, but it didn't go to have the growth of the business. I was a sales director at that time, and I went to meet the MD and I said, "Look, we're struggling with growth, and why can't we take from the marketing budget to focus on these areas? Because we basically had a problem with stock build up in the pipeline. And how do we create consumption? And some of these marketing activities are not targeted at creating consumptions, they're more driving awareness and consideration." And the marketing director said, "Look, no, I don't have money for the budget and this." So I ended up spending everything I had on in the trade marketing budget. And I said, "Look, you know what? Spend everything on this particular activity. When we have no money, the business will come back to us." So eventually, I think the business realized that that was the wrong thing to do, and then we had to realign what we did, and therefore we executed that. So depending on the businesses that are premium, focus on the premium consumers will focus a lot more on marketing, will spend a lot more on marketing. There are a number of businesses, however, in Africa that are focused on the bottom end, okay, because you still have a lot of consumers who have limited income. Therefore, they're focused more on the sales side. So it depends on the portfolio that you have. Best practice for me will be a balance of both. So where you have products that you're trying to drive superior margin, I will spend a lot more on the consumer side with them. And where we're trying to focus on just giving people the right product and making sure they have it at the right price, then my spending will be more around, do I get my product right and do I make it available for them and make it easier for them to access the product versus driving spend on the marketing side. So that's typically what you'll find in Africa.
That's fantastic, explanation, Alex. Any more? So you talk about like a competitor analysis. So anything you want to talk about competitor analysis as far as the strategy is concerned?
Yes, I think in developing your strategy, because you have to always look from outside in. What you've got to look at customers, you've got to look at the channels, you've got to look at competitors. And when you're looking at competitors, you've got to look at them from the trend. What do they do? What is their typical behavior? Right? Where do they have strengths? What are they, and where are the areas of weaknesses that you can take advantage of? So, if you analyze and you track, one of the things I'd like to ask my teams to do is to track every single competitor activity that happens, and then also track the impact when you look at retail audit or you look at consumer share data and also your sales data, and try to see if you can see correlations, because then it helps you to determine whether some activities work well or some activities do not work well, and where you do not spend and why you shouldn't spend money to react. I'll give an example, but this was a long time ago when I was in Cairo. We working for one of the big multinationals. We also had a competitor in the laundry fabric care category. We basically had three sizes for the washing machine category: a 5 kg, 3 kg, and 600-gram size. Now,
Yeah.
we usually run certain consumer promotions. They ran similar promotions on the 5, 3 kg, and 600 gram, but we only did on the 500 and 300 grams. And the sales team was clamoring, why don't you run promotions on 600 grams? These guys are doing it. It's hurting us. It is hurting us. But after looking back and just trying to correlate the data across the three sizes, what we saw was that anytime they did an activity on the 5 kg and 3 kg, their market share grew, and if they stopped, it dropped. But on the 600 gram, there was no shift. So basically, it showed it was a waste of money. And that was the data I shared with the team to show them that, look, yes, we will react or we will do these activities when these guys act like this. However, when it comes to this, it makes no difference. So we shouldn't bother about doing any activity. And that's where all the noise from the sales team came to a close. So I think critical to understand them. But what I always say is don't get obsessed by them. Strategy is a decision of what we're going to do. If you open the strategy of most businesses, they say the same thing. We want to serve the consumers the best. We will have the best supply chain. We will do this. We will have the best people. The key difference is the person who does what they say they're going to do. So whilst it's good to look at competitors, I think you should be more obsessed about the fact that when we come to conclusions and say we're going to do this, do we do the things we promised we're going to do, and do we hold ourselves to account, and do we track them? If we do that, then it helps us. But it is good to preempt, think of what they will be doing, look at what they're doing in other markets, think of if they bring those things. So it is better to be proactive and build it into your plan rather than be reactive, because if you're reacting at the time they've started an activity, given lead times to initiate activities, it might be too late for you to get any action by the time they've started. So those are my thoughts when it comes to competitors.
Perfect answer, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your fantastic explanation. Any key takeaways for the attendees? Mhm.
I think the key takeaways for me will be that, first of all, be customer focused for the entire business, right?
Mhm.
Understand that you're trying to win three main battles: battle for the mind of the consumer, battle
Mhm.
where the consumer makes this purchase, battle when the consumer uses the product. Your entire
Mhm.
business is focused on winning this battle. So your supply chain, your HR, everybody plays a role in trying to ensure that you win this battle. So start from the outside in. When
Mhm.
you have this very clear in your business around the points of alignment, and then make sure that you try to drive that, but also watch out for the areas where there might be conflicts between
Mhm.
certain objectives. Simple example: supply chain could say we want to cut down product cost, but at which
Mhm.
point does cutting down the product cost affect the product quality or what you offer, the value you offer to the consumer. If you're not careful about that, you can save money because it seems like you're saving margin here, but you can end up destroying the sales that you have. The third is there are tools and processes and simple things that can help you do that. Having integrated business planning and ensuring that the top owns the decisions, not just the functional heads, and the top tries to drive that as a group, not just the MD, but the entire leadership of the business will help ensure that you can drive this. At the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the leadership to ensure that the entire organization and the culture of the organization is engaged to deliver the business goals. So it is not marketing or sales goals, it is the business goals, with marketing and sales playing critical roles in driving that. If we take these things to mind, then we will be sure to see continuous success every time we do this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Fantastic presentation. Uh, so, so we will let you know if any questions remaining.
Yes.
There is any questions in the private chat. There are some questions. Okay. Actually, there was some glitch in the LinkedIn streaming in middle, but we just had to redirect it to the our LinkedIn page of our organization. We are able to connect it. Okay. So I think that's a major part of it, Alex. Okay. So thank
All
you for
right.
joining. Thank you for joining the session and wonderful delivering wonderful lecture. So if there is any questions to you, I'm sure there must be some questions. Our people will collect and write to you. Okay.
Yes.
So then we will take the questions. So thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for joining. Thank you very much, Alex.
All right. Thank you very much.